No.
Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First off, I want to say call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Akim, out there pushing the word in sincerity and truth. As you can see, man, I'm the brother Ariala sitting here, and we've got the brother Require Quam, the famous brother Require Quam. I couldn't do these algos without him. Y'all bros, let me know if you can hear me. And we're going to get this thing kicking, man. As you can see, there's a lot going on currently with Putin announcing or making an announcement that they are going to basically support the separatists in the eastern part of Ukraine. And this opens up the doors for them to be able to protect themselves and strengthen their border, creates some different geoeconomic, geopolitical things that the brother Require Kwame wants to touch in on, and it's a part of the wars and rumors of wars. It's a part of these different nations and kings of the earth positioning themselves for what we understand as the war of Armageddon in the scriptures, where all the nations are going to be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat for a final showdown. And these little things that's happening here and there and there and here, if you study the last world wars, if you study the fall of empires, this is how it goes. It's a systematic, conglomeration of kings and armies that lead to major skirmishes down the line. Okay. And so this was an event today. Ironically, it's on February 22nd of 2022. So 2/22/2022, which, has a numerology significance and everything like that. So I wanted to open it up with Revelation chapter. I want to open it up with Revelation chapter 11. You got that scripture pulled up, Ak?
Salaki, I was.
No, it's all good. I got it. It's all
You
good.
got it, yeah. I was just
getting distracted. I'm trying to get this light working. Revelation 11:14, it says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." And as we know, we are in the last days of the last days. As we see more and more brothers and sisters wake up to this truth, we're also seeing this empire begin its translation into destruction and perdition. So the third woe is coming quickly, man. These beginning of sorrows that we see out here, from plagues to economic upheavals to people are starting to rebel against their governors and leaders. For example, what's going on in Canada. These things stir up conflict and war. And so we're excited, as you should be excited as well, to see Babylon fall, man. To see this place coming to what we expected. We've been watching, we've been paying attention to these things, and the big "I told you so" is upon us. Before we started on this, me and the brother Require Kwon were talking about how at the top of this year we kind of did a M.O.T.B system, central bank. We kind of did a marathon. Actually, me and his brother did like a marathon show, almost 4 hours. And within it, we covered a lot of things that are starting to come to the forefront now, because these things are relevant to prophecy, and we are the watchmen. And we go into these things. You're going to have other groups that don't want to touch on these things because the Spirit is not given to them to go into these things. But best to believe, when you go into the book of Jeremiah, Isaiah, obviously Revelation, in the book of Daniel, these things are mentioned. The clash of kingdoms and mentioning how these nations were going to come and fight and how things are going to change were mentioned by the prophets. These other guys just want to tell you about fringes and the next barbecue that they're going to have to see who can link up with brothers and sisters and who can cheat on who else or whatever. But we're going to get down to prophecy. All right. And so we've been talking about these things multiple times. In fact, last year sometime I was talking about central bank digital currencies, and we're posting these things. These are the lessons that people don't click on. Now, if I put the black woman will be crushed in that day, we'll get 45,000 views.
Yeah.
But
They
since
love
we're
the
talking
drama.
about these things, you don't want to view what you got out.
I was saying they love the drama, man. That
Right.
which is the way of the world, the way of the drama.
The way of drama. But the first thing we want to touch on is the Ukrainian issue. If you want to save your screen, share your screen, you can. And I'll open
Yeah.
up the floor to you.
I suppose let me pull George. Yeah, so brother should know, the developments have been happening over the last few days. Let me share the screen. And so today, Russia made a chess move.
Mm-hmm.
Let's share the screen
And
here.
I'm gonna read a scripture real quick.
Yeah, go on now. Go right ahead.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. And that vision is the prophecies, is the word that the Most High speaks before, and then later on it comes to life. All right. And in like manner, we're running as we read it. Okay. But at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not carry. I mean, tarry, meaning it will come in the time appointed. All right, these prophecies and how they systematically going to come to fruition is going to come at the time appointed. It's no wonder we see rumblings of major war at the same time. We see the systems around the M.O.T.B start to really come together. We told you from the beginning through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that the systems around the jab were going to be a part of the gradualism towards the M.O.T.B. And they're using that chaos, they're using that fear to systematically start to put stuff in place. Now we have the issue with the Canadian truck drivers. What are they protesting? They're protesting mandatory jabs. And out of them protesting those mandatory jabs is regulation on your rights, and centralizing your rights into a specific place and order. All right. So we're set up to be upon our watch and mention these things over and over and over again. The truth is repetitive. You got people coming on the apostles page talking about, oh, this is too repetitive. Have you ever read the first 5 books? It's extremely repetitive. Why? Because our people are stubborn. You got to drill it into their head. Okay. And it's also to make no excuses. Right? Isaiah 62:6 says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish him, and till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. So there's only going to be certain men, the elect, set up to continuously cry, to continuously complain to the Heavenly Father, and warn our people, trumpet. Okay? You got what you wanted pulled up, Op?
Yeah. So yeah. Um. So if we look here on George Report, it gives you kind of like a basic rundown of what's been happening so far. So, Putin is the first thing he did was he recognized the breakaway regions in Ukraine as being sovereign nations, separate from Ukraine, and then he ordered troops, right, his troops, Russian troops, into those regions as a peacekeeping force. All right. Me and the brother were discussing that it's a good move because, in a way, he's not invading. He's doing it in agreement with these new states, and it kind of means now that if the Ukraine want to attack these states, they basically have to go through these Russian peacekeepers. So they're going to be like a militarized zone between the Ukraine and these two regions, which I'll pull it up on the map for you. Where did I have it? Where's it gone? Here. So this is Ukraine, right? Obviously, you should know about Crimea. right, which was annexed by Russia in 2014, and these were the other two regions that were also involved in that situation. Now, when they, because I'm sure brothers remember when this was hot. When it kind of died down, the agreement was that the government in Ukraine would basically allow these two regions to have a special status within the country. But obviously, since then, the Americans and the Europeans have boosted the Ukrainians to the point that where they're like, nah, you're not going to get no special status. You're going to remain under Ukrainian control. And which is why Russia now has decided to step in and give these nations their their sovereignty, which they don't really. They're going to be under Russia now. Okay. But this is all prophecy. This is all going back to the beef that's going to happen between Babylon the Great and the bear. You know, it's all part of World War III. You read that scripture, didn't you, brother, about the third woe cometh quickly?
Absolutely.
Right. So we know about World War I. In fact, let me pull that up. All the war. Let's get it up. All the world wars are referenced in the prophecies. Okay. So if we go to Revelations 8 and 13, it says, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound." All right. So those are the three woes. Now, we're just going to go through it quickly, but in Revelations, the ninth chapter, it tells you about the first woe. That would be um, World War I, which was from 1914 to 1918. It was 4 years of war, right? At that time, the most brutal war there's ever been,
Oh
because
yeah.
that was the first war where they really had machine power. It was devastating. They'd never seen nothing like it. Men
Yep.
getting chopped down like they were nothing. They were
Absolutely.
still trying to fight war the old way. The old way of war was you just threw men at any problem. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you see in the movies you'd have um like a shelling range, or you might have a guy in, what's it called, a bird's nest.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a guy in a bird's nest with an automatic him, and it's like two. Imagine you got him and about two, three other people in there, and you got the one guy on the gun, and you got two other people. All they're doing is loading the gun consistently with bullets, and they're just laying down fire. And the
Yep.
other side is just throwing wave after wave after wave at them, and they're just chopping them all down.
Yep. You
Which is why you had to have the,
watch those old World War One kind of films, and they'll show you how you'll have a formation of men just trying to run across this field to the other side. Like, what are you doing? And they're just getting literally chopped down until the wave can actually overcome or whatever.
yep. And that was mainly due to the fact that this form of warfare was very new, and a lot of those generals, they'd come from the old. Like, a lot of things changed when you're getting into the 1900s. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of technologies came about, so a lot of them guys, they were from the old world. They were still loading up guns with, the musk,
Mm.
the one pop muskets on
Yeah.
horses. Now this is a different type of warfare, so that's why you ended up having to have a draft. Because so many people died in the wars early on. They were like, damn, we're running out of men, so we needed to get more men, and that's why they ended up having a draft. By the way, that was World War I. Revelations 9 and 12 says, the one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Okay. And then so there was going to be two woes after that. We come to Revelations, the 11th chapter, and it speaks about the second woe. The second woe was 1939 to 1945, and was increasingly more devastating than the first one. And
Yeah.
we had what, on one side you had the Allied forces, Russia and all them, versus Japan and Germany and all them guys. Italy switched sides a few times because they're slimy like that.
Mm.
But uh, it said
And Eastern Europe is still ravished from
yeah,
World War II.
Yeah, that war was crazy. There
Yeah.
was, in fact, a lot of Russians died in that war. That's the crazy thing. They like to give, which is something that the Russians have resentment against the Americans for,
Yep.
because the Americans came in last minute and claimed they won the war, when really it wasn't the Americans that won the war, it was the Russians, and
Yep.
they lost a lot of men doing it. But anyway, yeah, so it's the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the interesting thing about World War II was there really wasn't an era of peace after World War II.
Yep.
Um, the Cold War began in 1947. So literally 2 years after World War II, you had the Cold War between two allies,
Mm-hmm.
because Russia and America were on the same side. That initially they were going to continue the alliance. Russia had said, look, we could continue to be allies. But Truman and the people back in Truman said, nah, we ain't going to be allies with Russia. And that's what began what we know as the Cold War. And most of the wars in that century were wars between America and Russia as proxy wars, even onto this very day.
I got
Okay.
got a quick scripture to go with that.
Khan.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. I'm pretty sure you was going to pull this anyway. Revelation chapter 13, verse 12, it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. This is talking about Rome. Rome was that first beast. And in America, with along with the EU conglomerate, is the rise of that first beast, is that wound being healed. Now in verse 13 it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And so this is talking about the power of the NATO conglomerate. They had the power to bring fire, for fire to come down. And this, and the building up of this, that Cold War time period, is where basically this fire was being kindled. So I just wanted to add that point.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned they made fire to come down in heaven, because that was actually a key moment which led to where we are today. Because when you go into the Cold War ended supposedly in 1991. That was the fall of the Soviet Union, and agreements were made. So that's when the bear became docile at that point in 1991. That you mentioned they caused fire to come down from heaven, right? What was that? The bombing of Yugoslavia, right?
Yugoslavia, where they came and just kind of ransacked. What was it,
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
services?
get it up. It was crazy. Where is it? Let me see. I know there's footage of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like the first time that NATO operated as a unit. They just went mad. I know there's a video somewhere. There we go.
Yeah.
It was
And this
this
one
one, right?
here, yeah, I think that's it.
Good at knitting, bad.
Which that wasn't supposed to be the purpose of NATO. NATO became offensive, the empire.
That's right. But that's how they get their mouth. They in their mouth is sweet, but wars in their hearts. Wars in their hearts continually, like it talks about in the book of Psalms 140.
Mm. Okay, this is images of what they did to Yugoslavia. That's why the scripture says they caused fire to come down from heaven. The beast, which is NATO. This was the first time that had happened.
Yep.
And
And
it was very destructive, but it signaled to the world that NATO is now operating as an offensive unit, as
yep,
opposed to what it claimed to be, which was a defensive unit.
yep, yep. And so
Okay. Yeah.
systematically, you can see. Let's see, NATO bases
Yeah,
surrounding
I got you. Oh yeah, I got a thing like that too.
something
Hold
like
on.
with the NATO bases surrounding Russia.
Where is it?
Because when you take a look at this,
The hell is it, man?
NATO just started to systematically, take over the European bloc. And, people think that people think that these Europeans want the U.S. there, and they don't. They just don't. That is not an overall idea, and so that's what's going to cause a lot of these nations to come up against them. You got something pulled up, bro?
Oh, you know what? I had it and I've lost it, man. I had the image. Oh, here we go. Right.
Okay.
Because this goes right hand in hand with what you were talking about. So
Okay.
when we go to the 1990, right? The fall of the Soviet Union, these agreements were made. So if we could see here on the image, this is how it was in 1990. Okay. In the red is all the NATO members, the beast. Yeah. United Kingdom, Spain, Portugal, France, West Germany, Italy, Turkey. Yeah. 1990. In the blue, you have what's known as the Warsaw Pact, right? The Warsaw Pact. So that was like those countries who had a treaty of friendship or mutual assistance together with Russia, right? Where is it? So let's jump back. There we are. Right. Okay. Right. And then you got the neutral countries like Finland, Sweden, and all these little ones down here. Now, an agreement was made between the beast and Russia, and I'm gonna get it up here with what's his name? Gorbachev? Is that how you
Gorbachev.
pronounce it? Right, Gorbachev, NATO expansion. What Gorbachev heard. It says, let's get straight to the point. Right. Uh the US Secretary of State James Baker's famous not 1 inch eastward assurance about NATO expansion in his meeting with the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev on February the 9th, 1990 was part of a cascade of assurances about Soviet security given by Western leaders to Gorbachev and other Soviet officials through the process of German unification, right? And it's key. You see, Germany is heavily involved in the situation to this day. In the process of German unification in 1990 and on into 1991, according to declassified US, Soviet, German, British, and French documents posted by the National Security Archive at George Washington University. Okay, so an agreement was made that, as you see, NATO back then in 1990, where is it? Uh, as it was, NATO was not to expand any further east. The Russia would remain as it was as a nation, and all these little nations would form like what would you call it?
A wall.
A wall, a safe zone between the two powers. Yeah. Now, as you can see, the image on your right is 2019.
Yeah, they all up in that thing.
And this is what's causing the problem.
Yep. So once again, Esau on the side of the beast is he's been caught in a lie, because the media will have you think that Russia's just tripping, you know, they're exciting war, but this whole time NATO has been expanding their powers and putting in more and more and more military bases closer and closer and closer to the Russian border. And this time they're staring up that bear. Like, if somebody can put in that scripture on the comment boards, Ezekiel, what is it, Ezekiel 38?
Yeah, if we can, we'll read it.
Mm-hmm. So now Russia's being stirred up, because I'll share my screen real quick. You can see how the United States has continuously expanded and moved closer and encroaching on Russian borders. Now this affects Russia not just politically, but it also affects them economically with their ability to move across borders with trade. And we always say, you mess with a man's sandwich, you're gonna be looking for a fight. Okay? And so now all of these things are being stirred up. The water, bro.
Yeah, can't. I mean, so so after the Cold War supposedly ended in 1991, 1990, there was a period where NATO was just chilling. Then they just started expanding. one nation after another nation after another nation after another nation, and Russia weren't really doing nothing until Mr. Vladimir Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get our man Vladimir Putin up here. Which, by the way, the name Vladimir Putin is Vladimir means ruler, and Putin means the way of, or the way. So this man has a rulership mentality, and the people that are backing him have a rulership mentality. And their thing is, why did we bow down to the West only for them to turn around and basically, you know, take over?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yo, we need to go back to that Soviet era where we were powerful and we could project our power globally. Okay. So then I believe I'm trying to find the dates for you when Putin came into power. Let me get that.
Yeah, because
There we go.
Putin over there wrestling bears, judo tossing people, shooting. He's bringing that warlike spirit, that manly spirit. He openly denounces the transgender, alphabet movement. You know, so he's bringing back that spirit of like masculinity. What you
It's
got, Chad?
funny because he became acting president in year 2000, and what he immediately began to do was to, get rid of certain people that weren't playing ball. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
billionaires that were just there to make money, they weren't on the thing. He got rid of them. And then he started to take the money and modernize Russia's military, and start again to, what's the word, expand Russia's military reach globally.
Yep.
Okay, and to build up allies. This is what Putin started to do around the year 2000.
Right.
Okay, well, that goes hand in hand with
Yeah.
the prophecy.
Yeah.
Have you got
Ezekiel.
it up there?
No, I can get it though. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say.
Ezekiel 3. Yeah, because that's when Russia, the, if you go back now, that's when the Cold War started all over again. And the brother's gonna get the scripture,
Right. This
but
is the
yeah,
book. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. This is book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. I'll read quickly. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
Now that's key. Be a guard unto them. Now, if you go back to the time of Libya, which is mentioned as one of those allies, right? At the time, Putin wasn't in power; he was a prime minister, and you had this guy Medvedev. This guy was a soft dude, and
Mm-hmm.
he stood there and let America basically destroy Libya, and that was a turning point for Russia. After that, they said never again. And that's why you notice when they tried to do the same thing with Syria, Russia responded completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
It was a completely different Russia. Putin weren't playing. He said, nah, what you did in Libya, we're not going to just stand here and let you do. So what did he do? He sent his troops into Libya to protect Assad.
That's right.
And he's been protected to this
You
very
mean,
day.
you
And
mean
America failed.
you talking about Syria?
What did I say? Did I say
You
something else?
said, you said Libya.
Sorry, not Libya, Syria with Assad, right? They're protecting Iran. and now they're protecting these two republics.
That's right. That's right. So if we go here, see if it'll pull up. It might not let me pull it up. Yeah, I know it's gonna do that. Now this is back to 2009. What to watch in 2019? Russia building dangerous military alliance with Iran, Persia, Turkey, Libya, and other enemies of the little hats as the U.S. withdraws from Syria. Right? He's a guard unto them, and it's like he's looking at the United States, like, yeah, you won't smoke, we won't smoke. You know. So what has he been doing? He's been supplying them with anti-missile defense systems. You know, doing energy contracts with these guys, preparing, like the scripture says in the book of Ezekiel 38. It says, "For be thou prepared and prepare thyself." They are being prepared. All right. Did you have another point you was gonna go into?
Yeah, I was just gonna show what we mentioned on what Putin did to Russia. He said, "Be thou prepared," right?
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Okay, yeah, I got the It says how Vladimir Putin turned Russia's dilapidated military into a modern lethal machine. After years of painful military reforms, the Russian president is finally getting his "I told you so" moment. And this article is from 4th of February 2022. So this man Putin single-handedly, that hook, man.
Yeah.
He's got Russia back on that stance. They in the game and they ain't playing. All right. But that's, as you can see, it's all prophecy, right? Do I have anything else?
Yeah.
Um,
This is a good scripture on a comment board.
Khan.
Soldier of Yahweh, Yahweh Shah Shalom, set up a standard in the land. This is at Jeremiah 51:27. Set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses that come up as rough caterpillars. And when you look up those nations are in and around Russia, along even with the Germans, and Russia is becoming like a captain. You know, when you see all these nations getting ready to move and preparing themselves to fight against the beast, NATO. So I just want to
Yep.
bring that out.
Yep. Just to reiterate, so when you see what's happening in Ukraine now, this is a situation that is bigger than Ukraine. It's mainly down to NATO expansion and the fact that America hasn't given up on flipping Ukraine over into NATO. And they've been giving Ukraine weapons, and Russia's responding to that. So I got this one here saying why the Ukraine crisis is the West's fault. Let me just read through quickly. It says, according to the prevailing wisdom in the West, the Ukraine crisis can be blamed almost entirely on Russian aggression. Russian President Vladimir Putin, the argument goes, annexed Crimea out of the long-standing desire to resuscitate the Soviet Empire. And he may notice they call it the Soviet Empire, like America's not an empire.
Right.
Crazy. And he may that's the one word they never use on the American news. Like, and he may eventually go after the rest of Ukraine as well as other countries in the Eastern Europe. In this view, the ouster of the Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych in February 2014 merely provided a pretext for Putin's decision to order Russian forces to seize part of Ukraine. But this account is wrong. The Babylon the Great and the rest of the beast, their European allies, share most of the responsibility for the crisis. The taproot of the trouble is NATO enlargement, the central element of a larger strategy to move Ukraine out of Russia's orbit and integrate it into the West. At the same time, the EU's expansion eastward and the West backing of the pro-democracy movement in Ukraine, beginning with the Orange Revolution in 2004, were critical elements too. Since the mid-1990s, Russia's leaders have adamantly opposed NATO's enlargement, and in recent years, they have made it clear that they would not stand by while their strategically important neighbor turned into a Western bastion. For Putin, the illegal overthrow of Ukraine's democratically elected and pro-Russian president, which he rightly labeled a coup, was the final straw. He responded by taking Crimea, a peninsula he feared would host a NATO naval base, and working to destabilize Ukraine until it abandons its efforts to join the West. Okay? It says Putin's pushback should have come as no surprise. After all, the West had been moving into Russia's backyard and threatening its core strategic interests, a point Putin made emphatically and repeatedly. All right. So that's what's up. So now, they've Russia's basically said enough is enough, and they've just declared on their own that those regions are now sovereign and they're gonna back them up. Okay. Now, interest one for you, Arkham, just to show you how it's all the Lord. What's that? Daniel the fourth chapter, isn't it? Where is it?
What you thinking about?
You know the one where it said the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men.
Yeah.
Because an interesting piece of information actually came out that Britain tried to get Russia to join hand in hand with Europe. Because Russia is Europe, you know what I mean? They're all European. It's crazy. Just like how initially after World War II, there was calls for Russia and America and Europe to be one because they were all allies, right? But the Spirit of the Lord wouldn't allow it. It says secret documents from the 1990s reveal farcical plans to allow Russia to join NATO. So the British tried to basically get Russia to join NATO so they could all rule the world together. Hey, but the Spirit of the Lord was against it, man.
That's right.
Go on, Ark.
All right. So I'm assuming you're talking about Daniel 4:17, where it says, this matters by decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men.
Yep, and exactly that. So this whole thing is going to play out exactly where the Most High wants to play it. He's one that's working on the minds of all these kings and all these men to lead it up to where it is now. Now, is all out war gonna break out like tomorrow? We don't think so. It's gonna be a stalemate at this point. Russia's gonna hold it down, and Ukraine are gonna have to hold it down if they know what's good for them. Because if they start bombing up those regions with those Russian troops there, then it will be all out war.
Yep.
And that's why Russia's put their peacekeepers there to make sure that the Ukraine can't pull a fast one and just rush in, take those regions over, and then the Russians can't do nothing about it without, going to war. So they said, look, we're going to put our troops in there early, and then so it stops them from shelling. Because I believe they were shelling them, weren't they?
Yeah, the Ukraine, on the Western Ukrainian side, they were shelling the Ukrainian side.
Yep.
So
there you go.
Yeah, but the reports are kind of like, you get reports that you get shelling from the Russian separatist side, Ukrainian separatist side, but then you have reports that it's actually Ukrainian nationalists that are pro-NATO shelling. So this is a part of the propaganda of the rumors of just what's actually going on, But I have this clip if you want me to play it.
Yeah, Khan, of course.
The unconfirmed by NBC News, but the Russian state media RIA is now reporting that President Putin told both French President Macron and the German Chancellor Scholz that he will.
If you notice, Russia always deals with Germany and France before anybody else. Because I believe those going to be a part of those 10 horns. Those are going to be some of the horns that come up that hateth the whore and that burns her when you read in the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. French and Germany. because they didn't really like how things went down after World War II. They kind of got the raw end of the deal. And now they're kind of stuck between, kind of like this major beast system and the kind of opposing vestiges of former powers with Russia and everybody.
Yeah, and you gotta remember as well that when you're looking at France and Germany and World War One and Two, like they've been through hell. America ain't been through nothing. So America's the one pushing all this war because they ain't never been touched. That's what the scripture says. Scripture says there's been like a virgin. Let me get that up real quick. Isaiah, was it Isaiah 47?
Yeah, Isaiah 47.
Yeah, the virgin daughter of Babylon, the delicate. they've been called delicate and tender because it was France that felt the brunt of those wars. It was Germany that felt the brunt of those wars.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the France and Germany are kind of looking at it like, damn, this guy's got us moving smoky, but when the smoke starts, we're gonna get it. We've always got it because they're in Europe with Russia. America's on the other side of the world.
Yep.
Are you trying to stir up all this trouble?
God.
That recognition of that Donbass region, in that report, that Russian state media report, it does cite the Kremlin. So, again, unconfirmed by NBC News.
So basically, Russia wants to make sure that at least this area stays clear, so that they have some type of a position against potential NATO troops, right?
Yeah, no doubt it's probably got some real strategic value in terms of tanks and stuff moving in and out of Russia. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Because some of these regions you can't get tanks through. It's mountainous and there's certain key points which are pivotal if you want to go from one into another. And no doubt that region there probably is very good for tanks and personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why would Russia care?
Right.
NBC News, but one Russian state media outlet now reporting that President Putin will recognize that Donbass region, independent of Ukraine, and that he will sign that recognition. So an indication of the announcement that we think we may get from President Putin at some point this evening here in
He ended up making that announcement, and so it kind of led to breaking news. Here's another one from Christopher Green, AM.TV, which we always say it's like he does good, but then at the same time he kind of is like, But did you have a point that you wanted to make, bro?
Nah, we could.
I think this will lead us into the next part of this update, which is what we talked about, the political part. Did you want to touch on anything else as far as Russia?
Nah, that's pretty much the whole situation where we at right now.
Right. Right. And so what Christopher Green is going to do here, he's going to kind of tie some of this stuff together with the economic side, with the M.O.T.B side, which we opened up and talked about. There's a gradualism happening, towards a new economic order. Okay.
The last decade I was reviewing with you. You can find this on Rumble. Content I was doing as far back as prior to 2014 and the invasion of Crimea. I was being made fun of, called a fearmonger. The fact that I suggested World War III was on the table as a part of this global financial economic reset. I was considered a crackpot conspiracy theorist, but the truth is I'm just 100% correct on all of this. And now Putin sits on the doorstep.
Now, see, Christopher Green, and this is why I have to mention this. What Christopher Green is going into now versus, because I've been watching his videos way, way, way early. And so what we've been talking about is more than what he was calling. He wasn't really big on cryptocurrency until it blew up in 2017. He wasn't big on Bible prophecy until like 2017, 2018, man. A lot of these guys get their information from watching the prophets, watching us. And then they fuse it in with what they understand, from their point of view, on politics and everything like that, And he's grown into what he's talking about to be honest.
That after
That's
successfully
why we say you got to chew the meat and spit out the bones with these guys.
acquiring and annexing much of the Crimean Peninsula, which he should, because this is extremely strategic. And the United States government would do the exact same thing if Putin was on the doorstep of Florida, or he was on the doorstep of Cuba, as we saw with the Cuban Missile Crisis. And now, because he's very worried that Ukraine might be pushed into NATO and set in place missiles just on his border, is about to annex and take much larger portions of Ukraine. And if you talk to Ukrainians, they'll tell you that most of what you're seeing in the media isn't even real. So the Russian invasion plans have already begun. I believe that the United States and Poopy Pants Biden will do nothing. Just like he handed the Taliban Afghanistan, guys. You really think this guy's going to do anything, Mr. Biden Poopy Pants? He's not going to do anything but give Putin more of this part of the world, which is the plan. This is part of the demoralization phase of the Western collapsing empire. I told you this for years. Has there been anything that I've gotten incorrect? And now we are living through the World War III event. I'm going to dig into all this some more. I want to see those thumbs up. Make sure you click the bell.
So when he's talking about the demoralization of the United States, meaning like that shameful spewing that is being talked about, that's talked about in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. If somebody can post the shameful spewing scripture, basically you're seeing shameful spewing come upon the whore that rideth upon the beast. And so it's a part of saying, hey, the American empire and domination as a superpower is crumbling. We need to all come together as a global entity and create a global governance that we all may be in peace, and we don't have to be at war no more. We don't have to fight. It's not going to be more poor people. We're going to take care of each other. So part of talking like this is what Christopher Green is talking about. He's saying this has to happen to the United States. The United States has to seemingly look weak to draw them into this war, but out of it is going to lead into this global system that all of these kings of the earth are pretty much complicit on. Okay.
Also, we've had some good news. So I want to congratulate all of you out here locally in Maui. They have lifted Maui, Hawaii, and I believe it's going to continue because that's the plan. Trust the plan. Collapse the petrodollar to nothing. Reset the system into a new CBDC central bank digital coin standard.
Boom. And that's what we want to talk about next. We want to go back and talk about the CBDC systems that they want to utilize for the M.O.T.B. All right. For those of you that I'll mention it once, M.O.T.B, mark of the beast. Okay. But we're going to say M.O.T.B until the algorithm picks up on it. Okay. Anyway, these type of systems are going to be how they're going to make they cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark upon their right hand or their forehead. Okay. And if you don't have it, you ain't going to be able to buy or sell. They have to do it somehow. Okay. The technology that you're starting to see come to the forefront and start to display. They've been working on this for years. But finally, regulatory matters, if they're going to bring it by law. Okay, they're gonna bring it by law. Hey, Thwada Pasha, hey, Shalom, I gotta come see you, bro. All right, but they're gonna be bringing all of these things, man. Okay, and if you ever have a point, required quorum, just interrupt me.
Gone.
Bitcoin blockchain standard, which is why you should be learning about this stuff. We're going to have two coexisting worlds of public CBDCs controlled by governments and then the private cryptos, of which there's going to be winners and losers. And some of them, I think I know which ones, not financial advice, are going to continue to 1,000, 10,000x, which is why you should learn about this stuff, guys, because we are in a hyperinflationary collapse.
Right. So currently what we've been telling people while we did a video telling you that Bitcoin was not the market of the M.O.T.B. Gotta watch myself. Is because what they're doing is the kind of Bitcoin system is going to be the private systems, but they're going to make the CBDC bank, the central digital systems, the areas where you can actually operate in the world. And so to cross over into that public sector, you're going to get taxed out the wazoo to convert. You're going to get crazy taxed if you're trying to like convert your Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you got in these kind of private blockchains that are decentralized. In order to get over into this system, you're going to just have your earnings wiped. And they're going to create capital gains tax on that side that's going to hurt to where whatever gains that you do have over in this sector, they're going to see if they can suck it up, you know?
If I could say this is, it's because most people were fooled into thinking that these were currencies. They're not currencies. If you look at Bitcoin, when the CIA created it, when DARPA created Bitcoin, at first it was supposed to be peer-to-peer payment, all right, but it doesn't fit that, and so then they changed it to being a store of value, all right, which is like, really, if you really look at it technologically, there is actually no use for Bitcoin. It's crap, all right. It doesn't have any smart contracts. It's rubbish.
Ancient, yeah.
It's, if you look at these other blockchains now, they're not currencies. They call them cryptocurrencies, but they're not currencies in the way you think about currency, meaning you go to the store and you buy food. That's not what it's for. If you take the first generation smart contract platform, which is Ethereum, the ETH token, what you're buying is computing power. The token itself is computing power. It's not a currency. You use that token to access the computing power and the capability of the blockchain. And so when they're talking about these private cryptocurrencies, understand that these are all systems that can now incorporate everything in the world. So if you're looking at the supply chain can be put onto the blockchain, and there will be a cryptocurrency which you would use to manage and keep that system stable, but it's not money.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? This is why they're going to have the CBDCs.
The money part comes in the value of that system, because the supply chain is extremely valuable. So as people anonymously interact with that blockchain, it creates a value system.
That's right, through utility. Exactly. So when you're dealing with these systems now, remember that you've got the utility, but you also got something called interoperability. Interoperability, which is a key word. And whenever any technology is made new, one of the biggest barriers is interoperability. Now, the internet has overcome that. The reason that me and the brother Ariella, we can communicate right now is because the system I'm using and the system he's using are interoperable.
Yep.
Right? You could buy any phone in the world, and that phone is interoperable with everything, the internet. Because remember, when they first created internet, there was more than one, and they weren't interoperable. You couldn't send information from one to the other because they were completely different. So what they're doing right now is you got all these private blockchains which are designed for a particular thing. So for instance, you got
1 second. That's why you have to type in WWW, because that creates the interoperability.
That's right.
It creates a web.
There you go. So when you're talking about these different chains, right? Like for instance, you got chains that you could put driver's licenses on. You got chains that can help you manage your Internet of Things. Like this, it's not a currency. People think of it like that, but it's not. It's just different programs. Now, with the CBDC can be used to interlink with all these things, which ties into what we're going to go into, the carbon footprint and the social credit scores, because you can have smart contracts which interoperate with all these things. So it ultimately becomes one system.
That's right.
And these currencies are just data points moving across transactions, like data transactions. And that's what he's talking about. So you got the CBDC, which is owned by the central banks. Then you got these private blockchains, which basically operate everything that we know. And that's the system they're building.
That's right, brother. Excellent breakdown. Excellent breakdown. If you didn't understand it, come back, rewind it. Because basically the brother broke it down. That's why I bring this brother on here, man. Y'all got to get this game. Okay? Because this is how they're going to operate the M.O.T.B system. Bro, have we not been saying this?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. Fourth Industrial Revolution.
The fourth industrial revolution, the data revolution. Okay? And they want to control it.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. The long-awaited paper on the central bank digital currency being issued at this time by the Federal Reserve, in which they say that a CBDC could offer a range of benefits and risks. Don't come to any particular conclusion about it, but they say it could offer the general public a risk-free digital money that is free from credit risk, free from liquidity risk, would not replace existing digital money, but would be an addition to it. The Fed will not proceed, as Chair Powell has said, with a CBDC without support of Congress and the executive branch, ideally with an authorizing law. Let me go through quickly what the paper sees as the benefits. It would provide electronic form of central bank money to the general public, households, and businesses, faster and cheaper payments, and expanded consumer access to the financial.
And so they're going to have to regulate this thing. And this is where NFTs and those type of capabilities will be incorporated with the CBDC, where you can have your ID, your registration, boom, 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 and everything like that. And what better way to keep it safe than put it in you?
Exactly. You know, you got a lot of the NFTs are known for JPEGs, which that's not what it's really for.
Much more.
It's for like everything. Your driver's like any certification, like trade finance, you know, all of that can be put onto NFTs. It's a non-fungible token.
That's right. That's right. Your house deed, everything can just be uploaded on it, and all have to do, the person has to go scan. You will become the QR code. You will be a walking QR code with the M.O.T.B.
And it also, with the smart contracts, that's how they can make everything automated.
Absolutely. And
one thing just leads to another. And it's all like now, the way the world works, people don't realize all this bureaucracy. Most systems are not interoperable, which is why, like, say you want to apply for something, you apply for it, you send your information, then they got to go to another department, and the department has to send them something, and then they all this. If it was all interoperable, it will just happen instantly because they'll access everything. Boom, gone. And so that's what they want to bring it to, that kind of world.
Right. And so they slowly and gradually tell you that this is convenience, but they have to use fear to bring on the regulations so you accept it. The major way that they did it was with the jab and everything that comes around it. Okay. And anybody that resisted are seen as terrorists, bad guys. That when you look at the Canadian truckers, what did they do? They shut down their money. They told the bank, don't let them use the bank. They told the people, hey, no, y'all can't crowdfund for them. And then say these guys are terrorists. They're setting up.
And the thing is, it's like, you had these people that they thought that crypto was going to save the world, But the funny thing is that they were able to do that because you can see everything on the blockchain. You can't hide it. That's the whole point.
Oh, I got you, bro. I got you. Check this out. Listen.
The country of Russia has decided that they are not going to be abrasive towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The news broke late last night in the Russian national.
Now, this was when? February 9th. Okay. So this just came out, and amongst Russia and Ukraine having all this going on, this is what's breaking.
Paper that the Russian government and the central bank has reached an agreement. They are going to treat Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies just like regular currencies. This is a huge deal because previously the central bank, the Bank of Russia, wanted to ban Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. They did not want to actually allow their citizens to participate. Many people don't know this, but the country of Russia is one of the largest countries for crypto adoption. They're the third largest Bitcoin miner, according to hash rate, in the entire world. There's over 12 million Russian citizens that hold cryptocurrencies, and it's estimated that about $26 billion worth of crypto is held by those 12 million people. Russian citizens have shown that they want to hold Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And now the Russian government is saying, you know what, we're going to let you do it. They issued a statement, and in that, what they have said is that they are going to treat Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like regular currencies. They're also going to license various crypto exchanges. If you're not licensed, you're in trouble. They're going to provide all sorts of frameworks around taxation and regulatory compliance.
See, you got to be licensed, taxation, and regulatory compliances are going to come along with it. So yeah, you think you free because you got you some Bitcoin? No, you're going to have to, it's going to be funneled through this. Now check what he's about to say.
And then lastly is they're also going to require people to submit information to a nation state run surveillance system that
they're going to allow people, they're going to have people submit themselves to a nation-state run surveillance system.
Submit information to a nation-state run surveillance system that knows who has what assets and when they're transacting with who.
Boom. The whole purpose was for you to be able to transact between people anonymously. But now you're going to have to register your wallet. Your wallet is going to have to be known. And as you move your money between the wallets, you can be tracked and traced for your safety.
Ultimately, to see a superpower like Russia get into the game here is important because it forces the hands of other countries around the world. Bitcoin is an open, decentralized payment system. It doesn't care if you or I participate. It doesn't care what nation states are participating. It simply produces block after block after block of transactions. Russia is already under immense pressure from the United States around financial sanctions about the potential invasion of Ukraine. They've been buddying up with China, a frenemy of the United States. They've been talking about bilateral trade and settling in a currency other than the US dollar. And so naturally, Russia is likely to be interested in that decentralized open payment system that no one controls and no one can censor. Bitcoin is censorship-resistant money. Sanctions are censorship. And if you're facing that censorship, you probably become interested in something like this.
And this is why we can why we tell people that sanctions and embargoes are not the mark of the beast. They're still buying and selling outside of the system. It's just more difficult when you want to talk about major developed nations. But with the cryptocurrency and stuff like that, you can kind of get around, U.S. sanctions. But this point right here is showing you how even the crypto markets will be regulated. To get in and out, you're going to have to register your name, who you are, all that type of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and you see the funny thing is about it's like what they're making it look like these individual nations, but the Bank of International Settlements and the IMF, they're at the head of this introduction of the CBDCs.
Exactly.
And they've made it clear that all these nations are going to have CBDCs. But guess what? In order to make it interoperable, you're still going to have one currency that can bridge them all.
That's right.
Which is where we've always talked about that one world currency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just going to be one system. But it's not going to be the dollar anymore. And that's the key thing. And that's going to cause a whole bunch of problems.
That's right. So when we read this in Revelation 13, 16, and 17, now that with the information that we're bringing out, I hope it can kind of open your eyes up if you have ears, and if you have eyes to see and hear, that this prophecy is beginning to jump off the page. Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. And so you got to go.
I was just saying, that's right. And see, at the core of it is that when you get issued that CBDC, you're also going to be issued with your global ID. Right. So you're in this new system that they're going to create. Like right now, you might have a driver's license and you might have a passport. You have all these different forms of ID from all these different systems. That's why, it's just clunky. It's not interoperable. So what they're going to have is just this one ID. And that ID, you're going to now use that account, that wallet, to interoperate with everything else. So everything you do, you see, like right now, you kind of like, you access things through different usernames and like all this crap. Like you got a Google account and a Microsoft account. And if you notice, what they're doing nowadays is, when you go sign up to a website, right? Instead of having to put all your information in, they can say, oh, sign in with your Google account.
Yep.
That's interoperability. Yeah. But it's going to go even further centralized to your central bank with the CBDC. So you're going to have a one identity, which is interoperable with everything. So you'll basically sign in to everything with the same system, whether it's your car, whether it's your anything you could think of. You can now use that one ID to get access to it.
That's right.
That's the M.O.T.B. Just one thing. That chip is going to be everything you are is going to be encompassed into this one place. That's it. You won't need anything else to access the internet. You're going to have that chip.
That's
You
right.
sign on to the internet.
That's right. That's why that 5G is rolling out, because the 5G is going to allow for tremendous amounts of data to move.
Because what's the problem? They said you got all these people with fake identities on the internet running around, these robots. Well, yeah, the solution to that is they've been saying that. We've done videos on it like years ago. They said you need a passport for the internet.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know?
And so they'll stir up whatever chaos that they need to stir up to say, oh, and you already see them clamping down on free speech. We have to walk on shells even in this stream right here, because you can't say this, you can't say that. You know, watch out for that. That's misinformation. That's hate speech. You know, we see what's happening with what happened with Joe Rogan and all that. All these things are coming together and colluding with each other for an overall M.O.T.B system. Okay. Did you have another point out?
Yeah, I was just trying to find. You know, when Klaus Schwab, he mentioned the ID and the microchip, didn't he?
He
I'm
did.
sure he did.
He did. Because they have something called the Real ID that they talked about in the World Economic Forum, and they wanted to incorporate that with this. I'm trying to remember the name of the group. It's a major Rothschild group that was with it. You know. See if I can find it.
Trying to find it, but I'm sure he mentioned that having that one global ID. So, but in fact, on the World Economic Forum website, they've got a whole part of the website that's dedicated to IDs. On the agenda, the digital identity.
Oh, they got a section on that.
Yeah, they got a whole section on that on their website. You know, so that's where it's gonna, you know, it's just gonna come back to. So then, because like I said, it makes it where everything you are can be easily accessible. Everything. You know, it makes the job easier for the security forces because they know they just pull up your number and they got everything on you, where you go, who you talk to, who your friends are.
That's right. That's right. So with that being said, that kind of goes to the next part of what we wanted to talk about, which is, you know, what are some ways that they're going to gradually make these steps, and what they're going to do is start to set up regulatory systems. And we've been talking about this. This is something that you know, I've been mentioning Glenn Beck and his latest book he just came out with, the Global Reset, where he talks about ESG scores, credit scores, and this is how you're going to be able to have your digital ID, how it's going to be tracked, traced, and this is stuff that China's been doing. They're at the forefront of this thing. Okay, so let me play this. You know, we like to play y'all these cartoons, and so we can all feel smarter.
A large and increasing number of the world's investors are integrating environmental, social, and governance.
That's what ESG means: environmental, social, and governance.
Or ESG, to understand risks and opportunities.
And the CBDCs are going to come underneath this regulatory system that the global elite are going to put out there for them to follow. All right, and all the banks are going to be interoperable. Can't even say that word. And it's all going to be one mesh system. It's going to be a global system.
You spot the difference in the financials of these two companies. They seem identical, but an ESG lens can help investors identify risks not picked up by conventional financial analysis. Risks that could impact financial performance because of operational costs or cost of litigation. Different ESG risks can impact different industries. However, corporate governance, due to its universal importance, is examined for all industries. ESG ratings focuses in on what's significant to a company's bottom line and comparable with its peer group. So, what are significant ESG risks? Here's an example. Water is important to everyone, but it only poses a significant risk to certain industries. Water could determine whether a mining company remains profitable or even afloat. But it's less important to the consumer finance industry. So water risk would not determine their MSCI ESG rating, but cybersecurity may. We look at the company's exposure to industry-specific risks based on its business activities, size of its operations, and where it operates.
So you know how much data they would have to be collecting to keep that current and up to date? There's business transactions as every time you blink your eye, there's thousands of transactions happening across the world. So to keep up with data like that, you would need Cerebro from X-Men. You would need Skynet from Terminator. You would need the architect from The Matrix to understand the level of data computing and mining and control that they would need. So they want to track and trace you. What you got, champ?
Which also ties back into blockchain, because that's what blockchain was designed to do.
That's
because no one computer by itself can do this. You need computers which are connected. Like, when you go into Ethereum, you know, which Ethereum's crap, but Ethereum was like the first part. It's a world machine. When they first brought it out, it was, what do they call it? The world computer.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically what it, like I said, it's computing power. It was the ability to bring all these computers together to work on a problem together. And if you take down one computer, the information's still there and it keeps going with the nodes.
Yep.
You know, and so, like the brother's saying, we've always said, the mark of the you know what ain't just gonna be like a stone that they put in your hand that does nothing. That if you're gonna do an enterprise like that, you have to have an infrastructure built to support what it is that you actually want to do. That's how the world works. You can't just say, I want to do something. Okay, well, how do you do it? What do you need to do it? Yeah, if I'm going to travel to see the brother Ariella, what am I going to do? Just blink my eyes and get there? There has to be an infrastructure. There's a payment infrastructure, communications infrastructure, a travel infrastructure with roads. I need to get to the airport. It needs a runway. It needs a control center. So all that needs to be in place before I do anything. So the same thing goes when you got a system that you want to control, whether people can buy or sell. You need an infrastructure. You need everything that they've built around us and told us, oh, this is for this reason. We always go into the 5G. They got people debating about whether 5G is going to turn you into a Martian, or whether 5G is just high-speed internet with low latency. If you're going to do things in real time, that's what you need. Yeah, same with Starlink, high-speed internet with low latency, so everything can happen now. Like the brothers in America, and as I'm talking, he's hearing it. You need low latency for that. Otherwise, you end up with a lag. You gamers, you know about that.
Yep.
You know, let me just read the definition of the word infrastructure, because that's what these other dudes that teach the M.O.T.Bs is the embargo. They can't even show how the hell that's gonna work. Like, what are you talking about? Explain it. They can't. It's an embargo, Ark. Bro, we ain't no kindergarten kids. You can't just throw out big words, and you got to explain it. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean it's an embargo? How does that work? How is that going to stop me from buying and selling? How does it apply to me? The word infrastructure is the basic physical, which is what we're talking about, and organizational structures and facilities, e.g. buildings, roads, power supplies, needed for the operation of a society or enterprise. And the M.O.T.B is an enterprise.
That's right.
Simple as that. That's why we have to go into these things.
That's right.
Go on up.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm the brother. Let's see. I'll pull it up. Brother Prashad had made a point, and I just wanted to pull that point up real quick. What he's talking about, and I'm gonna play it here. You know, when you hear that music, something's going on.
Our new digital world knows no borders, and great business ideas are no longer limited by where you work or live. E-Estonia is a digital nation for global citizens. For those who've thrown off the shackles of national boundaries, literally anyone in the world can apply. E-residency is legitimate and transparent.
That's your NFT.
A government-issued digital identity that gives you the freedom to run a global EU company online from anywhere in the world. Establish a company within a day. Access business banking. Use international payment providers. Digitally sign documents and contracts. And declare Estonian taxes online. We're Estonia. Tech is our expertise. And through e-residency, we are empowering entrepreneurs everywhere. No matter where.
Yeah, man. Through peace, he's gonna bring out these type of policies. What's that in Daniel, where it says that? You know,
you were
if
born.
a brother can put that on the comment board, that scripture in Daniel. That
no matter what passport you carry, you can apply. Use e-residency to run your business from anywhere in the world. Unleash your entrepreneurial potential, because no business should be bound by physical borders. Apply for e-residency today.
And you know that's got some demonic implication with it. You know, I'm not big into the symbolisms and stuff, but that looks like Baphomet, right? Don't you know what I'm saying? You know, it's Bafi right here.
And join our new digital nation.
Join us. These people are demonic as hell, man. Most High is gonna destroy this place. Okay? I'm gonna play this clip right here.
Here's what's happening right now. Here's how masks and Dr. Seuss are the same story. They are intentional distractions. As long as you can keep the American people divided, arguing about Dr. Seuss and arguing over masks, you can do anything. And huge things are being done right now on a global level. And there is going to come a time when your best friend, or even you, if you decide not to pursue this line of thinking, you will say, when did this happen? Right now. And it has been happening, I believe, for at least 10 years. This is one of the best laid out plans I have ever seen. You want to talk about, star chambers or secret combinations. This is the textbook case of it, except they're not in hiding. They're right out in the open. We're just distracted and divided. The only hope we have is to come together and say, wait a minute, yeah, Dr. Seuss, whatever. What is it that you just did yesterday? Now, if we can come together on these things, we can stop it. I'm going to show you just one piece. Last night on my Wednesday night special, it is crucial. Please.
Esau really think they're going to come together. And it's over, man. It's over.
That you watch it. Somebody said to me last night, Glenn, I can't watch it. It's too depressing. What can we do? I'll tell you at the end of the hour exactly what you can do. And it is probably the most important thing you will ever do in your life. And it will change the course of your life and possibly change the course of your country, because it will change the course of your family's life. It is critical. And I'll give that to you in just a minute. Let me just go through what is happening on one part of the Great Reset. Banks have always been the helper for capitalism, but you have to understand capitalism is changing. It's no longer shareholder capitalism. It is stakeholder capitalism. And the stakeholders are the government, the companies, the CEOs, and
yeah, man, Glenn Beck, he be sipping that whiskey in between the breaks, frustrated. America, man. Oh man, it's over, man.
You're a stakeholder, but you're not part of any of the decisions. Your government at the federal level is making all of the decisions in your name. That is exactly how they describe it. But we're not leaving people out. The government is doing the decision, and it's an elected government. And all of the people who are the stakeholder deciders, they are all going to be wildly wealthy. This is the biggest heist and the biggest cage ever constructed in global history.
Now, he's right about this. Okay. Check what he's about to go into.
Last night, I showed you a lot of things, but I showed you the Paris Climate Accords. And why is that so important? What was the big deal? I mean, it was nothing. It was nothing. Well, I showed you last night, it wasn't the Paris Climate Accord that everybody was watching. It was the secondary meetings that were happening there. They were happening with the banks, the biggest banks around the world. 450 different banks got together. Now, American banks, I thought, were not involved at the beginning. I couldn't find Bank of America or Chase Manhattan that were there. And you still, up until recently, you couldn't find anything. And you would say, well, that's because they're not involved, which I don't buy at all, and I have evidence of it now. But also, maybe they're in hiding because they don't want people thinking that they're taking their, orders from the UN and climate activists. You might think, hey, I'm going to get my money out of Bank of America and Chase Manhattan and the 5 biggest banks in the country because they're in doing something that I don't agree with at all. That is my assumption of why they have stayed out of this for so long, but they haven't actually stayed out of it. What caught our eye was at this, meeting of the Paris Climate Accords was the Amalgamated Bank of the U.S. Now, what is that? The reason why this caught our eye is because it's the biggest union bank in the country. They're owned by Workers United, which is an affiliate of SEIU. You say SEIU to me, and I immediately know something is really wrong. Now, I mentioned last night's show that the World Bank and the UN were collaborating at a global level back at 2015, and the US financial institutions were basically a no-show. But then we found that a private banking group in the Netherlands took their methodology and created a private organization called the Partnership for Carbon Accounting Financials, or PCAF. So this has come from a global organization, and then a private group says, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to do that. And so they do it. And that's where Amalgamated Bank comes in. They took their private model based off the UN Paris Accord Initiative and led the charge to begin implementation here in America. So it's a labor union and their bank doing this. Now, earlier this week, I told you that a friend of mine sent me something that they got from Merrill Lynch. Well, that friend of mine is Justin Haskins. And
thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be your friend.
I love that. So tell me about what they got from Merrill Lynch.
Right.
Explain it.
So a coworker of mine logs into his Merrill Lynch account. Not a rich guy, just a regular guy. Got his 401k in Merrill Lynch. Logs into his Merrill Lynch account, and up pops this really friendly, amazing notice that you've got your very own ESG score, your environment, social, and governance score. Scores in all 3 categories and an overall score. And unfortunately, my degenerate friend, 4.7 overall score out of 10. So not doing very well on the ESG scale.
This is akin to you getting a score. You think you have a score of maybe 700, for your credit score, and all of a sudden you find out that you have a score of 300. What are you going to be able to buy? How are you going to get a loan? Are you going to be able to buy a car, a house, or anything else? This credit score is going through the financial sector and the banks, and you'll understand why this is so bad here in a second. So when you get this, it is based on things from Merrill Lynch on the companies that you are buying. So if you want to buy stock and you think guns are going to be great and they're going to go up, they have a very low, what's called ESG score, environmental, social justice, and governance score. And so they have a very low rating, which means the banks are very unlikely to give them any money.
Right. So if you big into guns, you get a low ESG score. Now that takes you out of eligibility to have access to certain financial instruments. And these scores are going to be going in all of these corporations and banks that we consume from, that we use, are going to be governed by these ESG systems, where every time you swipe or scan or whatever, you're going to be constantly credited about what type of purchases you make. And those purchases is going to make you is going to give you a score. What you consume, what you watch, you know, it's going to be constantly grading your score. So everything is going to have to be interconnected. So your score is constantly being updated to say, okay, you're a person that's good for the government and the environment and society, or you're a person that's not good for the government and the environment or society. And so you don't have access to travel with these groups. You can't do this. You can't buy this. You can't go here. You can't do that. You see that? That's exactly right, Pashash. China's been using this with WeChat for quite some time. Okay, and that's why we have the scripture in the second Ezra, the 15th chapter, in the 46th verse. It says, "And thou, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower, and the heat shall arise that is sent over thee." Okay? And so all of these things are going to be happening to those who are partakers of the wine and the wrath of fornication. And China's at the forefront of pushing this social crediting system, which is basically what the M.O.T.B is all about. Okay? It's all about that. And so it's encompassing every aspect of your life. And what we try to tell and make people understand is that your ability to buy and sell, your ability to consume, controls your life more than what you think. Every day you're consuming. Okay, every day you're doing you living life. Your ability to take a deep breath when it's getting counted. Okay, everything that you do and being able to move, you know, shut your bank account down for a week or two. See how you move around. See if you eat the same things, go to the same places, do the same things. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the video I made from this Twitter post, but the guy basically showed how, like, you have no freedoms unless you have financial freedom to spend, because everything you do requires at some point that you spend money. That's the way the society is.
That's right. That's
You know?
right. Right.
Even to protest, you have to spend money. You have to get on the bus or get on the train. You have to buy signs. You gotta eat.
That's right. That's right, man. And so they're gonna constrict that. So you'll be complicit. All right.
You can say, I really believe in this technology, but if it's not politically correct, it will have a low score. That will punish that company in financing. But you say, screw it, I believe in this company. You now get a low ESG score. And they say this is just to help you invest. But that's not what it is. That's the happy face. The other side of that is it's your score. So the bank now looks at you and says, well, you have an ESG score of 4. You're not playing along with the environment. You're not for social justice. How can I trust that you're going to do something that is worthwhile for this collective community? So now you don't get loans. Now, the overall score, you're going to be graded, and your risk to the bank is assessed based on things and services you buy. This is from their report. The things and services you buy. Well, are you a member of Blaze TV? Are you? I hope not. Are you? Right? Have you bought a gun recently? Have you done? Are you collecting food storage? What are you talking about? Things and services that you buy. How much electricity you use. If you own a business, how much travel is involved? How much do your employees commute, or can they all work from home? How many buildings do you own? How many company vehicles are there?
See that, and you see that that level of data has to be tracked, and they're already starting to do this type of stuff. This stuff is going on as we speak. You know, they're already starting to track all your stuff, bro. They're already starting to track it. Let me see if I can pull a video up that has something.
Yeah, it's also going to include like your associations as well. Like if you associate with people with a low score, it will give you a low score.
Exactly.
So you got Facebook and and all this stuff. They had a Black Mirror episode like that.
Yep. Somebody mentioned that. I heard someone mention that today. Say, oh, it was the guy you was talking about from London.
Yeah, we got to play that clip, man.
You know, if you have that clip, you can pull it up. We'll move to it. But I got two more clips I'm gonna play just to kind of show you how the M.O.T.B, these systems are being put in place right in front of you right now. Klarna is growing. It's getting really big and popular, and they're about to go public. If they haven't gone public yet, they're going to go public soon, and that'll put it in the world in the world forefront. See, this Klarna, it's got all your purchases is going to track your CO2, your carbon footprint, your CO2 emissions is being tracked. This is a part of the environmental score attached to your buying and selling that is going to grade you and keep you in check. See that? So you bought something that had 327 kilograms of CO2, and they tell you about the same as a 1,753 kilometer car trip. That's what your purchase was equivalent to. And this is how they're going to grade you. Right? And so once you exceed a certain level of if you exceed a certain level of monthly emissions, you're going to get downgraded on your score on your purchases. See that? Sneaker club, a sneak hub, your shoes, right? Your books that you bought. It tells you the range of what they want you to be. All these things are already there, man. All these things are already in place. Like we just said, the systems needed in order to do this is already in place. And we saw this on this Super Bowl clip with Kevin Hart, that they're ready to roll this out. And they're going to use celebrities to make you feel like it's cool, it's hip. This is the way that it's supposed to go. Okay? You know? They're going to use all this stuff and to grade and track you. Hold on, let me remove that. Brother put up for Ecclesiastes 7:12, for wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. That's right. And they're going to control that money. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. That's where the grace of Yahweh Shem Yahushua comes. Okay? All this stuff is going on. Okay? So let me go back, play this clip real quick.
Sam's Club created the Scan and Go app just for me, so I can scan my stuff and skip the checkout line, because that's what VIPs do. Yeah,
see that?
Same. Even my stunt double has a stunt double. How VIP is that? Scan and Go was made just for me, people. You know what was made for you? The line. Look at this. Got a little VIP lounge for you.
Guys, he's doing it again.
You smell that? That's VIP air. Go ahead, breathe it. Wait, no, don't do that. You're not VIP.
Yeah. So now, but what they're gonna do is that the QR code, your ability to just scan and go, it's gonna go from the phone into you, and they're gonna want to make these contactless shopping experiences. If Sam's Club is putting a commercial on, that lets you know that their systems are ready to go. And you best believe Amazon already ready to go. And if Sam's Club is ready, Walmart is ready. And if Walmart is ready, all these other places ready. You remember whenever they first did the shutdowns, how quickly they had QR code menus ready? It was like the next day QR code menus were just available because the systems were already in place, man. Like they got shut down one day, then all the stores just had QR codes ready for you to scan on your phone. I was like, how did my phone even do it? I didn't even know my phone could. It was already available. All these systems are being put in place. Okay, you got it, bro.
Yeah, if I could just get a preset before I get these clips. This
Absolutely.
is Micah 2:1. This is woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, because ultimately what we're talking about here is evil and iniquity, man. You know, it's their sense. First of all, you're not supposed to do a censorship on all the people, which is basically what they're doing. They wanna number everything, and secondly, the kingdom don't belong to them. They're trying to establish their own rulership beyond the word of the Lord. You know, they're trying to establish themselves an everlasting kingdom using this technology, you know, to put our people in perpetual slavery, right? Which is what it is. The average Jake wakes up and he doesn't understand that these elites want to put them in perpetual captivity of the worst kind. Because this is you that's crazy. Like someone telling you everything what you can do. It's mad. It says when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So they have all these think tanks at their disposal that actually control these private corporations and control these governments and have led the world to where it is today, coordinated. Like the World Economic Forum, you know, the Bilderberg meeting, the Rand Corporation. I mean, there's so many think tanks and like little organizations that they have that's just there to organize everything. Like the average person doesn't know about them. Like you might have an organization that pretty much controls like an entire industry, and the average person, even the people that work in the industry, don't even really take notice of them.
That's right.
But these people that are in this organization are planning everything like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead. They already know where it's going and they're just putting it out there. And that's power. Yep. That's why the scripture said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Jake can't do that. There's no Jake on this planet that has power to affect an entire industry 10, 15 years in advance.
God.
Absolutely. We don't have no organization like that literally just sits there and says, okay, 20 years from now, this is what's going to be happening. And we're going to make it happen. You need to go over there. You need to get these lot to do this and do that. And that's why the brother's saying, that's why all these technologies are lining up. And you see MasterCard do it, Visa do it. You know what I'm saying? Like all the different players just fall in line. Amazon, Facebook, even competitors, they just fall in line. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. All these different central banks, it just all fall in. Even the Central Bank of Jamaica, CBDC coming out this year. Yeah, I've got that up here, and they're calling it the JA Dex, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I think I got it somewhere here. There we go. No cash, no problem. Jamaica picks tagline for new e-currency, the Jam Dex. Come on, man.
What Jammer?
you know some Edomite came up with that. Jam Dex is name of a digital currency to be launched this year. It's like, what do we call it to get them Jamaicans to accept it? I know. Jam Dex.
Jam Dex. They'll
like Jam it. Rock.
Yeah? People will love it. Just play some Bob Marley with it. They'll eat it right up.
Is it Jamaica will join the Bahamas and the Eastern Caribbean, which is like a conglomerate of lots of different Caribbean islands, in having e-cash, which is basically these CBDCs. All right. I wanted to show you, brothers, this clip from this guy here because he was going in hard. So I'll just play this.
Group. Our Chancellor, who does our economy, called Chancellor of Exchequer. His name's Rishi Sunak.
Yep.
He's put out this video. This is all on my feeds, by the way, my social feeds. He put out this video saying that what they want to do is bring in this thing called the central banking digital currency. They want to replace fiat paper money with digital money as a competitor to Bitcoin and crypto money, right? But instead of being decentralized...
Right. So remember, they operate on the Hegelian dialectic. So problem, reaction, solution. So what they did was they built up this Bitcoin thing as being a competitor to fiat. So imagine on one hand you got fiat, and on the other hand you got Bitcoin, and they're fighting as to who's going to have dominance, but they're both flawed, so that they can have a synthesis in the middle of a CBDC, which will have all the, what should I say, it will have all the components of both. Not only will it be blockchain like Bitcoin, it would also come with the reassurance of, but it's being operated by the central bank. So they had to build up this they had to build up this whole thing about Bitcoin versus cash. It was all set up.
Centralized currency, it will be controlled by a government. It's digital currency, but controlled centrally through the banks, Bank of England. So instead of having a bank account with whatever, HSBC or Bank of America, you'll have a bank account directly with, in the American context, with the Fed. In the UK, directly with the Bank of England. You have a personal bank account, and you're given digital money in that bank account. These are called central banking digital currencies. The Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK has already announced their intention to do this as the G7 group. And these, if you look up...
this sounds terrifying.
If you look up the Telegraph newspaper...
So I've already Googled it, and there's a lot of headlines about it.
Yep, there's a specific article in the Telegraph, programmable digital currency, yeah? If you can't find it, I'll pull it out from my Twitter feed, and we can talk through it on my feed. But while he's looking for that, I'll talk you through it. So one of these
central bank digital currency, is that the one down below?
Digital currency should be programmable. See that one there? Yeah. He's looking at it even on the search. It says the word programmable. It's top search result. Yep. Third line down.
I see in that.
Yep. Should be programmable.
Yeah.
Programming. Yeah. Now, see again, there's a paywall, but
start your free trial.
Yeah. But you can see the word there, right? Programming in the headline. Now, what they're doing is they're saying that this digital currency, once you're because everyone knows that with inflation at over 5%, it's now 5.4%, right? Our fiat money, the paper money, is increasingly becoming worthless.
Right. This is done on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is how they're gonna get people to shift to the new money.
Yeah.
And it's all the currencies. It's not just the dollar. And if you notice with the thing that we just had just now, what did all the governments across the world have to do? They all printed to infinity. Yep. Every single last one of them.
Helicopter money.
And
it literally made no sense either. It was like, if you knew anything about basic economic theory, it's like, why are they doing that? What is that? Why are you doing that? It's stupid. They were intentionally, ridiculously inflating the market.
Yeah, because if say like we're in the UK, right, and the pound starts inflating, and they've got the CBDC, which won't be inflating because it's separate, it's different, and it's the circulating supply is controllable, then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's okay, the pound's inflating, but guess what, you can come over to this money and it doesn't inflate, and you can retain some value. Whereas you would normally want to keep the pounds you got, why would you want to keep the pounds you got if they're inflating?
They're becoming, and that's why I move my money into different assets myself, because I'm like, well, I have it in this bank and I'm losing value literally by the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they can start all the benefits. The government are going to just force everyone on benefits to take this anyway.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be like, look, we're going to be giving out the benefit, the universal basic income in CBDC.
Yeah.
People on benefits ain't got a choice anyway.
Yeah, La Portia, shut up. This is what we're doing.
And we're headed towards a big disaster. The Fed wants to raise interest rates. But we're in so much debt that if you raise interest rates, people are going to suffer, because we're living on debt as Western economies. So they realize that this kind of the lifespan of paper money is fast coming to an end because of the 2008 economic crash in particular. So they're bringing in these central banking digital currencies. Why is that word programmable in there? So what they said in that article, and the Chancellor put a video out saying this as well.
Oop. Don't worry, I got you.
Why is that word programmable in there? So what they said in that article, and the Chancellor put a video out saying this as well. They said, right, think back to what vaccine passports were, yeah? If you don't have your jab, you can't even eat in this restaurant. What they've said, and why the word programmable was in that headline was, they've said that this money that you will earn from work, instead of having paper money, you have this digital money. It's programmable so that you can't buy certain foods, or if you do something that your employer doesn't like, it's all in that article. You won't be able to spend your money. In other words, it's not money. They're vouchers. They're like food vouchers. And they can be programmed so that, like the Chinese social credit system, that if you try and use them on a certain thing, it won't work. You say you want to buy a burger and they want you to buy bugs, which is one of the examples used. If you start to try and buy unhealthy meat, just won't work. You tap your card, you can't buy the thing because you've met your quota that month.
See that? That's the carbon footprint tracking that goes along with the ESG regulatory systems that the banks, your credit cards, these stores, everything you do is going to regulate you, and it's going to control your buying or selling, except you have that mark.
Now, doesn't this make more sense than saying that the M.O.T.B is an embargo?
Yeah.
Does it not just make? I don't know. You know, this guy Nate said, "Oh, maybe your dog could buy you some lamb then." You know,
if he has that mark, yeah, maybe he send his ass into the store.
Yeah, well, even the animals are gonna have a ration.
Yeah.
In the UK, animals are chipped. The dogs are all chipped with an identity.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Even the type of dog you have might affect your ECG.
That's right. If you got a pit bull, you know you're gonna get hit.
You tap your card, you can't buy the thing because you've met your quota that month of burgers. You have to buy something like a vegan meal.
So it won't just be money in the sense of the way we have dollars or pounds today.
Yeah.
It'll be something that's controlled in terms of your ability to distribute it.
Which is why I'm calling it a voucher. It's a coupon.
But even a coupon.
But you know what, brother? What we've been saying for years.
Well, you've been saying that particularly for years. That point right there, you've been saying that since freaking.
It's rationing. It's a rationing system.
Yep, you've been saying that since like 2008.
You go back to World War II in
09,
Britain and America, because they had shortages of food. They gave everybody rationing cards, vouchers, and that's how you got your chicken or you got your clothes. You had a voucher, and you that was it.
Yeah, I know
you ran out of the vouchers.
Since we started the Algo, so that's back 2012 maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not money or life as people know it now, where what Esau does in the system that there is now is that you get paid and you have the liberty to buy whatever you want. That's why you get idiots. I used to know a guy that used to get paid and he would go out with his friends on a Friday night, and by the end of the weekend he would be broke for the next of the month, because you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You could get paid on a Friday and spend all your money on cocaine and whiff it all down if you want.
Yeah.
You could eat pizza every day if you want. It's up to you as long as you have the money. This new system is no, you're gonna be able to get what you're given. Right? There's not gonna be all this choice. Like right now, you got a lot of choice, like especially women, right? If any store you go into with women's clothes, there's just ridiculous amounts of choice.
Yeah. It's like
the
the
women,
men get one corner section.
Yeah.
It's like 3 hats and some pants that don't fit. But the whole rest of the store is women's shopping.
Exactly. And that's how the system's been up until now. But the new system is going to be, you're going to get 2 types of shoes to pick from. Shortages. Yeah. And that goes into Agenda 2030 and the streamlining of production.
Yep. And anything that's different is going to be ridiculously expensive to your score. To where only the elites really have access to it.
Exactly that. So so to bring in that system, that's why they need all this crisis to get people used to it. So if you notice during the big what started happening, people started going into the store and their favorite brand of whatever they want wasn't there. So they had to get used to not getting what they want, just getting what was available.
That's right.
And that's going to happen even more.
Yep. We're coming back to scarcity, which will excite fear and which will bring on control.
There you go. It's crazy how we've been, hey, Great Millstone, man. We've been telling you this for years. Like, we've been going into the mark of the beast and we've been telling you. And now even these people are telling you, like on Joe Rogan.
That's right.
Buy bread.
Yeah.
You can still buy the bread.
Yeah.
Like, there's
But
no...
you can't buy, see that coupon to buy bread. What you can't do is buy a burger with that coupon. It's for bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you will have this central banking digital currency. And then what they're talking about in that article that we just pulled up is they'll say, right. And it explicitly uses the words, won't be used on something that the employer deems inappropriate or the state deems inappropriate.
Oh, we got to see this.
Yeah.
See if we can find that. Or
I was digging through a different article about it too. It's talking about there's pilot programs going to be used in the Olympics coming up in China.
Yep.
They've already started it. And
right now, do you feel like you're sounding the alarm?
Yes.
For people that don't understand what the fuck is going on.
So here, I'll put it up for you here. Yeah. So there's the video.
Yeah.
I don't know if your camera can see that, but
no.
There's the video. There's him speaking about it.
The G7 is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside...
Right, so that's the guy who runs our economy in the UK. His name's the Chancellor of the...
Yep. See if we got any more here.
Intervene on digital currency programming, yeah? And here's a quote from the article. This is in the Telegraph, the one he pulled up, but it was behind a paywall, so I'll just read the quote. Digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on essentials or goods which an employer or government deems to be sensible.
Holy shit.
Now, I'm going to take it one step further for you, Joe, right? So the vaccine passport infrastructure...
Oh, okay, that's enough of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you gotta get up out of here, man.
No, I was just saying because he was saying the V word too many times there. So
yeah,
we could just get up out of there. I got one more clip, but yeah, if you wanted to say something on that.
No. I think it basically wrapped up everything that we've been talking about into a bow, you know.
Yeah, it really brings Revelations 13 and 16 to light. And if you notice, it will be for everyone. Yep. Everyone would have to have it. It doesn't matter whether you're a celebrity or whoever. That's why the scripture says, small or great, rich or poor, free or bond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone will have to have this mark, which is the implantable RFID chip. But it's not just a chip. It's not like some empty chip that they're just putting in your hand.
Yes, sir.
No, there has to be something attached to that chip, right? Yeah, your digital identity, which is going to be part of your digital bank account, which now then can allow you to interoperate with every system. Your water, your gas, your food, your driving, your internet use.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your health care. You see? Right, this guy here. Let's see if we can get... I'm going to speed it up a little bit. This guy, he knows what's going on. Yeah, he's basically gonna read this tweet that this person put, and he's saying it like it is. So let's play this. Flipping
digital currencies. This is the best summary I have seen on this stuff by Sam Callahan. This is the Twitter thread. We're going to read through it, and I will start the 20-minute counter. So
can you hear it?
Longer than 30 minutes.
Yes.
Pleasure.
It could be a little bit louder.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so soft. I don't know why is that. Is it because it's BitChute?
It might be, but we can still hear it.
Okay, cool.
Race, ethnicity, or gender, or non-binary, and it's a very interesting time. 2022 going to be a big year. Magical Unicorn sent me this. This guy has a good, really simple summary about Bitcoin and all the like, and all the suckers that it's going to crash. Now, here's Sam Callahan telling us what we already know, but I've seen this is a really put down in a good, easy way to do it. So the guy says, I've been behind enemy lines reading everything published by the Bank of International Settlements in 2021. Here are 10 pieces that I found the most alarming and most relevant to Bitcoin. There's a horrible, what's his name, Carson, straight out of Central Casting. Okay. Number one, and the guy's got the links there to the papers, boring papers, you know, as Steve Bannon is up to say, it ain't the deep state, it's in the in your face state. They gave us Agenda 21, they gave us Agenda 2030. There was no mystery here. We knew this was coming. So here it is. Some key takeaways from their 2021 annual report. They advocate for a global digital identity system.
Right, so I'm gonna read this bit because it's gonna He's gonna say the V word, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hold on, where was that?
It's childish that we even have to do that.
Yeah, so it says this is from the annual report in 2021. They advocate for a global digital ID system, which we just spoke about. The V rollouts are a focus for them for the economic recovery. They recommend that CBDC accounts be directly tied to a person's identity. Yeah? Let's hear that again. They recommend that the CBDC accounts be directly tied to a person's identity. Right?
There you go.
So I want him. Yeah, let's get past that part.
This is from December 22nd. He posted this stuff. I expect the misinformed environmental FUD against Bitcoin from central banks to only grow louder heading into 2022. He gets a few things wrong, like, for instance, this is the central banks. They run everything. They own everything. This has been planned for decades, literally decades. Quote, by now, it is clear that cryptocurrencies are speculative assets rather than money, and in many cases are used to facilitate money laundering, ransomware attacks, and other financial crimes. Well, yeah, in the olden days, to money launder, you either strap cash or you went by the diamond market. Now, who runs the diamond market? Okay, Globalist and Co. So when you want to smuggle $40 million in drug money, you are not going to be able to carry that amount of money and get away with it unless you're lucky. But you can put $40 million diamonds up your ass, and that's literally what kept diamonds so high. Diamonds are worth nothing. Literally nothing, except for its industrial use. Diamonds are obviously for their industrial use. What's propped them up is their ability to launder drug money, exchange it for drug money. That's all it's worth. Now you've got Bitcoin and other bigger cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin in particular has few redeeming public interest attributes when also considering its wasteful energy footprint. Their main recommendation concerning CBDCs is what they call an account-based retail CBDC. As the Magical Unicorn told you, we told you in previous videos what was coming. It's austerity forever with Greta in your UN smart city, and the central bank digital currencies would deal out how much meat you can eat, where you can travel, how big an apartment you can have. So if you're a good little piggy, good little commie, good little socialist, and inform on your neighbours, East German stars, you get a bigger apartment. If you get, you get little, like an English nanny, how you can make the children behave. Look, fine, build a smart city, put all the morons in there, but let us adults, please, we'll do it all ourselves. So you better get ready for a fight, and you better hope the United States stays alive and well, and the US dollar stays strong, so we can hammer Europe, the EU, hammer the EU into submission. Concerning CBDCs, what they call an account-based retail CBDC, which will be a system where individuals have direct accounts with the world of Magical Unicorn sale, the retail banks are gone, where all users are identifiable using a universal digital ID scheme. Remember, this isn't the government. This is a private banking cartel, East India Trading Company, getting the natives. We're the natives now. We're all going on the reservation. With CBDC, some of the most shocking excerpts in the report are where
now you're mad that you're the natives.
Lay the groundwork for privacy assurances and act much as local authorities preside over their town's marketplace. They want you to trust them with total control. Yeah. Number two, in an executive summary, they found that.
Whoop! Can't let him say that. Right, so in an executive summary, they found that during the use of supervision technology tools increased from 12 tools used in 2019 to 71 tools used.
Look at it. And I know a person, I know of somebody, I actually have an email of tech companies that literally link up with large corporations to set up QR codes so they can mine and track data. So now, even if you go to a game, it's all like QR code based. So you just scan what you want. They're going to have it to where you scan on the seat in front of you, scan it, you can get whatever you want, or you can look at the next advertisement. You can get bonus deals and stuff like that. But really, it's just there to just track your data, you know.
That's what's up. Let's get past that C word.
It began. All these fintech, financial tech, it's all come out of Israel. Who was in bed with South Africa and their race-based biological warfare program, Project Coast? Israel was. Who has a solution on
this? Yeah, pause in, bro. You're going to get that page clipped. But
it's like,
he going in though, bro. What you can do, what I'm going to do is, for you, Aki, I'm watching, I'm going to send this out to the this actual video out.
Yeah, I'll put it in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on BitChute for a reason. So we trying to tread lightly, but he going in, bro.
Let me just read what it is, man, because this guy. Hey, we living in a messed up world, man. You can't even mention. This is crazy, man. Yeah, where is it? Basically, he's just gonna go into the surveillance nature, how the central banks are now using up more big data. So things are shifting away from the retail banks, and a lot of the crisis is going to be blamed on the retail banks. you know,
Absolutely.
and them not managing the credit.
Yep. And so they'll have to be restructured.
Yep.
And we all fall underneath that restructure.
Well, a lot of them are bankrupt anyway.
Yeah.
And if you think that they're not willing to sacrifice these retail banks to bring in a new world order, well, I don't know.
They took gold off the standard of the dollar. They'll do anything.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll post this because this guy was going in for like 20 minutes straight. But we can't. He might be sending for the small hats.
And
so
you know,
we'll
we're coming up on 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and start wrapping it up. You know, I feel like a lot of the points being made. Unless that you have one more major point that you want to go into.
No. That was it. I mean, the other clip was mainly that was the best clip, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm sure brothers understand like what we're saying is what we're doing is we're digging into that scripture, you know, about buying and selling and showing you that this is real. This is a thing that's happening right now. They have the technology to control what every individual is buying and selling.
Yep.
This is not something they could have done 50 years ago like that. Like I'm talking about complete control, causing all. Because you had cash, so you could just do barter or have cash. Like even bartering is difficult because the goods are tracked.
Yep, they're all tracked. They all got chips in them.
So they're gonna be like, well, where did all this stuff disappear to? You signed for it.
Mm-hmm. Who got it now?
Who got it? Exactly?
A drone gonna come over your house and hey, where's the stuff we just told you? We just gave you.
And that's another thing you're talking about, these drones and these AIs, and
that's a whole nother algo. That might be the next algo, because now we have the great resignation. What's going to take place for all the people that quit these jobs? Robots, you know, robots. Even when you talk about teachers, they don't need teachers. With the information that they're you putting in, they just need them. They just need they just need someone to kind of monitor the halls. Really,
a drone can do that.
Yeah, you know,
like
go back to class, you know, looking at us. Anyway,
and that just shows you that this Esau, he's not natural, and this is why he has to go to these lengths. You know, when I was listening to that woman, I forgot, I forgot her name, Fitzgerald, or anyway, what she said was the reason they need this complete control and technology is because they're scared. They want a reduced population that they have under complete control with technology because they're scared. Now, when we rule the world, we're going to have control, we're going to rule, but we're not going to be scared. So we don't have to do foolishness like this.
God.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I ain't gonna how many times somebody's urinating or like what the hell.
Yeah,
the life is just gonna be natural. It's gonna flow. Like what's this all about?
He wants to be God. He wants to be the Most High, man. Okay, but I'm gonna end it off on this, man. Revelations 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. Okay, and so you know he's moving forward with all these agendas as quickly as possible. You know he's gonna create and stir up as much chaos, and that's why we're seeing the beginning of sorrows. You know, everywhere. You know, the brother put Kathy Fitz. Is that her?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, she was saying that, man, and that proves that they're not the people of the Lord. Because when we rule, the scripture says, "None shall make us afraid."
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. So, yeah, man. You know, I just appreciate you, Akian, for sticking with us. You know what? Tell them what time is it over there in the UK, bro?
It's 3 a.m.
It's 3 o'clock right now in the UK, and this brother is coming out with so much charity. I appreciate you coming on, Ak, through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this algorithm because you were spitting so much heat and really can, just mull over these prophecies and what the scriptures say, because it it's popping off the page, and I felt like there was a lot of great information, and I appreciate you from jumping on this early in the morning with me, and Lord willing, all of you that watching. We're edified. I see brothers putting up positive comments. So call hello, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for that, man. So, do you have any closing statements?
No, man, just keep watching, man. Like they're entering into the next crisis as we speak. So just keep locked, stay locked in, stay in the spirit. Remember that their agenda is all about bringing crisis now to push through this madness. So anything can happen at any time, man. That's how these devils operate. So stay locked in, man, in the spirit.
Amen.
Don't get complacent.
Amen. Amen. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Kagarash Brakathum to all of you, man. Call Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutation to all of you out there pushing the word, sincerity, and truth. Hey, shalom.
Shalom.